Hui Neng was invited to speak at Tafan Temple in Canton. About 1,000 people, including officials, scholars, bhikkhus, Taoists, and lay people, had gathered to hear him. After taking his seat, he began, "Our self-nature, which is the seed or kernel of enlightenment, is pure by nature. By making use of this mind alone, we can reach Buddhahood directly. Let me share how I received the esoteric teachings of Zen. My father was exiled. After his death, my mother and I lived in poverty here in Canton. One day while selling firewood, I heard a monk reciting the Diamond Sutra, and I instantly became enlightened. I learned from him that he studied under the Fifth Patriarch, who had encouraged him to recite the sutra toward realizing his own essence of mind. The monk advised me to visit the Fifth Patriarch and even gave me money to care for my mother. After settling her affairs, I reached the monastery in less than 30 days. When I met the Patriarch, he asked where I came from and what I expected to get from him. I replied, "I'm a commoner from the south. I have traveled far to pay you respect, and I ask for nothing but Buddhahood." "You're a barbarian from the south? How can you expect to be a Buddha?" I replied, "Although there are northern and southern people, north and south makes no difference to Buddha nature. Prajna, or transcendental wisdom, often arises in my mind. Since I don't stray from the essence of mind, I have a great opportunity to sow the seeds of merit for others. What would you have me do?" "Barbarian, you are too bright," he remarked. "Go to the stables." I pounded rice and split wood for 8 months before the Patriarch spoke to me again. "Your knowledge of Buddhism is sound, but to protect you, I can't speak openly about this. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir, I do," I replied. "To avoid being noticed, I don't go near your hall." Some time later, the Patriarch assembled everyone. Day after day, instead of trying to free yourselves from the bitter sea of life and death, you pursue merits that cause rebirth. These merits will be of no help if your essence of mind is obscured. Find the prajna in your own mind and compose a poem for me. Whoever understands the essence of mind will become the Sixth Patriarch. Go quickly. Deliberation is unnecessary. One who has realized the essence of mind can speak of it at once, as soon as a question arises. They cannot lose sight of it even when engaged in battle. Shen Su feared it might seem selfish to submit a poem, but he didn't want to miss the opportunity. He secretly wrote one on a corridor wall in front of the Patriarch's hall at midnight, thinking that if the Patriarch approved, he would claim it. "Our body is the Bodhi tree and our mind a mirror bright. Carefully we wipe them hour by hour and let no dust alight." The next morning the Patriarch saw the poem, and realizing Shen Su had not fully grasped true enlightenment, left it on the wall for others to study. He spoke privately with him. "Your poem shows you've reached the door of enlightenment, but haven't yet entered. True enlightenment comes from realizing the essence of mind, which is neither created nor destroyed. It must be recognized spontaneously, moment by moment, free from delusion. Take a few more days to reflect and submit another poem. If it shows enlightenment, I will pass on the robe and Dharma to you." Shen Su struggled to write another poem. I had someone read what he'd written on the wall to me. Immediately I knew he hadn't realized the essence of mind. I wrote this response. "There is no Bodhi tree, no stand of mirror bright. Since all is void, where can the dust alight?" Everyone was amazed, but the Patriarch, fearing jealousy, erased it and said the author had not yet realized the essence of mind. The next day the Patriarch came secretly to the room where I was pounding rice. Seeing that I was working there with a stone pestle, he said to me, "A seeker of the path risks his life for the Dharma. Should he not do so?" Then he asked, "Is the rice ready?" "Ready long ago," I replied, "only waiting for the sieve." He knocked on the mortar 3 times with his stick and left. Knowing what his message meant, in the 3rd watch of the night I went to his room. Using the robe as a screen so that no one could see us, he expounded the Diamond Sutra to me. When I heard the line, "Let the mind go anywhere with no hindrance," I became fully enlightened, realizing that all things are the essence of mind. I told him, "Who would have thought the essence of mind is pure, unchanging, self-sufficient, and the source of all things. The Patriarch responded, "If you know your own mind, you are a Buddha. You are now the Sixth Patriarch. Spread the teaching and help others." Then he recited this stanza. "Sentient beings who sow the seeds of enlightenment in the field of causation will reap the fruit of Buddhahood. Inanimate objects void of Buddha nature, sow not and reap not." He continued, "When Bodhidharma first came to China, most had no confidence in him. So this robe was handed down as a testimony from one patriarch to another. The Dharma is transmitted from heart to heart. The recipients must realize it on their own. From time immemorial, it has been the practice for one Buddha to pass down the quintessence of the Dharma, and for one patriarch to transmit to another the esoteric teaching from heart to heart. This robe, should you hand it down to a successor, may put your life in danger. You are the last to inherit it. Now, please leave this place as quickly as you can." I told the patriarch that being a southerner, I didn't know the mountain trails, and it was impossible for me to get to the mouth of the river to catch a boat. "You need not worry," he said. "I will go with you." He accompanied me to the river and found a boat. He did the rowing himself, though I asked if he would sit down and let me take the oar. "It is only right for me to carry you across," he said, an allusion to the sea of birth and death which one has to cross before the shore of nirvana can be reached. I replied, "While I'm under illusion, it is for you to get me across, but after enlightenment, I should cross it by myself. As I happen to be from the south, even my pronunciation is incorrect, but I've had the honor to inherit the Dharma from you. Since I'm enlightened, it is only right for me to cross the sea of birth and death myself by realizing my own essence of mind." Quite so, he agreed. "Beginning from you, the dhyana school will become very popular. 3 years after your departure from me, I shall leave this world. Go ahead and go. Go as fast as you can toward the south, and do not teach too soon, as Buddhism is not so easily spread." After saying goodbye, I left him and walked toward the south. I soon found I was being pursued by men who wanted to steal the robe and bowl. Among them was a monk named Hui Neng, a former general. When he caught up to me, I placed the robe and bowl on a rock, saying, "This robe is just a symbol. Taking it by force is pointless." Hui Neng couldn't lift the robe and called out, "I seek the Dharma, not the robe." I came out and told him to clear his mind. When he did, I asked, "When thinking of neither good or evil, what is your true nature?" Hui Neng became enlightened and acknowledged me as his teacher. He asked if there were other secret teachings. I replied, "The truth is within you." Enlightened, Hui Neng thanked me and departed. I continued my journey and eventually settled in Taoji, but again faced persecution and took refuge with hunters for 15 years. I taught them occasionally, eating only vegetables cooked alongside their meat. Eventually I decided it was time to spread the Dharma and went to Faoxin Temple in Canton. There, Bhikkhu Yin Sung was lecturing on the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. One day 2 monks argued about whether the wind or the flag was moving. I told them it was their minds that were moving, surprising the assembly. Yin Sung invited me to take a seat of honor and questioned me on the difficult points in the sutras. Impressed by my answers, he said, "You must be the one who inherited the 5th Patriarch's robe and Dharma." I confirmed it, showing him the robe and bowl. He then asked what teaching I received from the Patriarch. I replied, aside from a discussion on the essence of mind, he gave no other teachings. The Mahaparinirvana Sutra teaches that Buddha nature is the only way. Even those who commit serious sin still possess Buddha nature, which is beyond eternal or non-eternal and cannot be destroyed. Buddhism recognizes no duality. Enlightened beings understand that the components of personality and consciousness are not separate. Buddha nature is non-dual. Yin Sung, pleased, said, "My understanding is like debris compared to your teaching, which is like gold." He initiated me into the order and became my disciple. From then on, I gave the teachings of the 4th and 5th Patriarchs. I've faced many hardships since receiving the Dharma, and my life often seemed to be hanging by a thread. Meeting you today is due to our good karmic connection and shared merits from serving the Buddha in past lives. Otherwise, we would have had no chance to hear the teaching of the Sudden School and lay the foundation of future success in understanding the Dharma. This teaching is not my invention, but was passed down from the past patriarchs. Those who wish to learn must first purify their minds and, after hearing it, clear their own doubts, like the sages of the past. The assembly rejoiced, paid respects, and departed.